zone our work. So if we want to get started, we'll start off with Melissa.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our 7th Annual Business Education and Workforce Development Summit. I'm Melissa Johnson with Pinal Partnership. I'm the Executive Director. We're honored to be involved with the Business and Education Committee that's putting this on. Pinal Partnership is a membership organization. We unite the vision of Pinal County by bringing together public and private interests, and we host monthly events. Our next monthly event is on November 20th, and we're going to have the current board of supervisors, as we're going to get 2 more in January. So it'll be nice to have the current board just talk about successes and look ahead. I'll drop a link in the chat if anybody wants to join, but I would like to, on behalf of my board of directors, thank Joel for all of his work with this committee and putting everything together and including us in the discussion. We're honored to be a part of it. So here is Joel Villegas with Pinal County Education Services Agency.
Thank you, Melissa. And just to everyone, welcome again. We'd love to do this in person. We always have such a good time on our half-day summit event. With great food, great breakfast, great lunch, and a lot of networking, but we'll still record this and we could still kind of reach out to each other after and use this as a networking opportunity. The chat will work for that if you want to send specific messages as our speakers talk, or if you want to meet someone, just let us know and we'll have this recorded. So again, welcome. Joel Villegas, this is our 7th annual summit. We do want to start by thanking the committee members. Our committee for education is in unison with Pinal Partnership. We meet the first Monday of every month, and that committee does a lot of work toward these events and to make connections within the schools. So I want to thank them. I also want to thank our sponsors. If you read the agenda, I hope you read the agenda. We have great sponsors and some great prizes. Some virtual door prizes, some door prizes for you. Reminder, must be present to win. So you can hang on with us till 11. We're going to do a drawing and we want to thank them. We have some Visa gift cards courtesy of 1GPA. Thank you to 1GPA. We have some restaurant gift cards courtesy of Capital Financial. And then we have a golf foursome at the Whirlwind Golf Resort, and that's courtesy of Alluvion Communications. So I'm hoping whoever wins that one doesn't forget my name. It's Joel Villegas. I'm the other Joel, not Joel Millman, Joel Villegas. So feel free to invite me golfing. Anyway, thank you to all the sponsors. A little bit about the committee work before we get going on our programming for today. Basically, our job has always been trying to connect all these different sectors: education, business, industry, workforce, and we've been doing it for like the last 8 to 10 years. We've been having this committee together to try to do some programming within the schools and showcase some of the things going on around here. The Arizona Progress Meter goals recently have been featured in our summits and in the work we're doing with that committee, just because those progress meters really helped us align efforts. It's a lot easier to reach out to different sectors when we all have these common goals that we're working toward. And in 2016, when the Arizona Progress Meter education goals came out, it was one of the first times that at these summits we could have some discussions around those goals. And now we have them in other sectors. So last year was our first look at the new progress meters indicators for some of the other sectors. So we want to just continue that work. So today, for today's goals, we're going to highlight some programs that make some of these connections we're talking about. That's one of our goals. Another one is, how do we build a human library to help facilitate these connections? So the idea of this human library is not new. We're going to feature a program called Community Share that's out in Pima County, and we want to feature that program because it might help us facilitate these connections here in Pinal County. So we're going to have a presentation with the founder of that platform, and then we're going to look at it a little closer later. And then the other goal is brainstorm some ideas that align goals from the different progress meters. So we like to use when I was looking at the registrants here, we're from all different walks here. We have people that are in local government, education, industry, natural resources, infrastructure. And those are the people we need at the table to help us brainstorm some of these ideas. So those are our goals for today. I am going to get started by setting the stage with a small video, and then we're going to have some reflection around it. So we're going to start with a video.
Imagine if our community was a human library, and every day a teacher could check out a human book.
A scientist, an engineer, a web developer, a business owner, ready to share their passion, wisdom, and experiences with students.
Imagine the doors that could open every day.
If students could learn from people in their community.
A group of us, educators and social entrepreneurs, believe the only limits are our imaginations. That is why we created Community Share.
So if you guys were to close your eyes right now, just close your eyes and go back in time and think about Arizona a long, long time ago.
As a principal, I would like to expose my students to every opportunity. As a school, teachers are often looking for connections and bringing the real-world application into the classroom, but it can be overwhelming on who to connect with.
In this partnership with Kate Hodges, our goal was to have the kids learn about their Arizona roots, the history of Arizona, and also to have the kids kind of like investigate their own family roots, where they come from. When we supplement that learning with a community share partner, can't be better than that.
Community Share is an initiative that is reimagining the relationship between our communities and our schools. Through our online platform, Community Share matches the skills, passions, and expertise of individuals and organizations with the needs and goals of educators in Arizona. Teachers create online profiles indicating the expertise that they want to bring into their classroom, while local community partners indicate the skills and experiences that they want to share. Teachers can find matches and invite community partners as guest speakers, mentors, project collaborators, and more.
Well, my name is Joe. I'm a maker. I'm a bit of an engineer and a bit of an artist. So we make sculptures. We did this for a freeway overpass in San Antonio, Texas. We call it Ballroom Luminoso. You know, I remember all the people who took an extra moment of their lives to show me into their process of thinking, and I found that very valuable. So this is our office. Working with kids brings you back to reality. It brings you back to a less filtered, more immediate type of way of interacting with the world. I think it's valuable to kids to see up close how adults work.
Students really need to be able to see the range of careers that they can get into, and oftentimes teachers don't always know that full range of careers or the pathways to get to those careers. And so Community Share brings in partners who can explain their story. How did they get to where they're at?
So to be able to have the potential of thousands of resource entries like this to serve the thousands of teachers, it's just going to be invaluable. We will be able to truly, for the first time, bring people together from the University of Arizona with the greater K-12 community. That is something that's never been done before and something that needs to start happening. We all live in the desert. Community Share is a gift, or as we say in Spanish, un regalo, un gran regalo.
Join the Community Share family today by creating a profile at communityshare.us.
And I apologize if there was a lag in the video. I know I was warned. When I gave the co-hosting duties to Sylvia, I forgot I lost the optimize button. So I hope it wasn't too bad and you got the gist of the video. But we do have someone from Community Share that'll be talking a little bit later about that human library and going into specifics on how that works and how maybe we could become a part of it. So that'll come a little later. Right now, as you saw in the video, it's very impactful when you have real world learning and when you have industry partners from outside that come in to help in the classrooms. So one of the things just in our world here, when we've done some projects here where students get to talk to architects or get to talk to network specialists and get to talk to app developers. And later on, you talk to them a couple years later and they're still saying, oh yeah, I think I want to be an architect when I grow up. So we kind of want to make sure those industry partners we're connecting with them. So I do have a quick activity and I don't know if Sylvia's ready, but we're going to put you into breakout rooms. You'll go into 4 breakout rooms and, or rooms of 4. And I'm going to put a couple of questions. I'm going to say them now and then I'll put them in the chat before we break out. But the questions are these: reflect on your own experiences in the classroom. And like for me, that was a long time ago. But think about anywhere in your K-12 experience of anyone that came into your classroom, whether it had been an industry professional, someone sharing information, a field trip, where you got to talk to a partner outside the school that made an impact on you. That's going to be the first part of the question. So if you could recall, and you'll share with people, groups of 4. And then the second part is, how can then we facilitate those connections? So what are some things we could do to get more industries connected into the classroom? So those are going to be the 2 questions. 1, recall a time someone came into your classroom when you were a kid. And I can flash back that far. So here's one example. I always tell people, I went to school in little old Eloy Elementary School, which I'm very proud of, but it's very closed off there. You didn't travel a lot. Eloy is very small, but I do remember a group, there were volunteers. I still remember 4th grade. I could tell exactly where I sat and listened and tried, but we did, they did panning for gold. They brought a bunch of pay dirt and they brought pans, and it's so funny. It's one of those things that have always stood with me and that I've always wanted to try. And to this day, I do watch Gold Rush every Friday, but it's still something I want to try. Also, I had some participants or industry partner that came and helped with rappelling. They let us rappel in 5th grade. I know there's a lot of liability now, but I learned how to rappel. And now whenever I go on any adventures or I go out on cruises, I always sign up for the rappelling because I love to do that. And a lot with the different careers too. Electronics piqued my interest in that. So there's been a lot there for me personally. So we kind of want you to have those same discussions in your groups. So we're going to do groups of 4. So if you would like to put everyone in groups of 4 and have the discussion on those 2 things. One is, think of a time when someone came into your classroom as a kid or you went on a field trip and learned from an industry person. How impactful was that? And 2, what are some things we can do now to facilitate some of those connections? So she's going to put you into groups and then some of us will be hopping around listening in. And we're going to do this for, let's do 8 minutes.
8 minutes?
8 minutes. And then once you're in there, make sure you unmute and you could talk to everyone in your group. So go ahead and join.
Amy, I have not counted you in the room. So you might be the fifth wheel.
You want me to go somewhere?
No, you're fine.
Okay. I'm just here to give the prizes out. All right.
Amy,
Yes, ma'am.
did you check what time we put him in the room?
Oh,
I checked the time and then I asked Alexa to set a timer and she didn't set the timer. So
I think they've only been there 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. Sylvia, Denise got kicked out of her group.
Her group.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Denise. Let me see if I can put you back in. What group are you with, Denise?
17, she said.
17?
Oh, I'm sorry, Denise is she's trying to talk. My bad.
You're headed back in. I sent you an invite.
Awesome. Thanks, Sylvia.
You're welcome. It's easy peasy once they get kicked out, if they let us know. So
Okay.
did she text you a message?
Well, it was in the, I'm doing the group chat, like Joel wants me to make sure that no one has questions or anything. So just to make sure to tell you. So that's what I'm doing.
Oh, I got kicked out of my group, I think. 17. She's cute. So I just sent the whole group a message saying that they have 1 minute left.
Okay.
So let me check my charger's not charging. Hang on.
There you go.
Computer make that little noise.
Yeah, it went bing.
Yeah, we have 6 seconds left. So I'm closing the rooms. They get 60 seconds to come back.
Oh,
that was my. I put some music on for us. It surfaces. Have you ever heard? Welcome back, everyone.
I think everyone's coming back now. Wait a second here.
Another good conversation.
I hope you guys had some good
Another one.
conversations
Hold
in
on a
your
second.
group. If anyone wants to share a couple, we have time for a couple. Anyone have some discussions? If you want to share out some of those impactful moments, take a couple.
I want to volunteer a member of my group, but Bremen at the in our group, group 2, I believe, really had something I thought was really impactful to say about just the project and what it can mean to students.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to. My son used it last. Bremen's actually my son.
Oh,
I forgot to
that
change his
happens to me
name.
all the time.
Yeah, my name's Raleigh Jones.
Hey, Raleigh.
Yeah, so I just realized that when you called me that, I'm like, how did you? Oh, okay. One thing that was discussed, just coming from a school's perspective, we've seen a big increase in depression and anxiety over the last few years. But since the coronavirus shut down, it's increased significantly. And one of the conclusions drawn is that kids are fearful for the future because they see things not working around them. There's some sentiment, well, why should I go to college? The classes are online. Or they see breakdown in communication in politics, or they see job losses. They're just seeing so many things that as a child, ideally you would see work. And there are a lot of kids who just, I think they don't see the world as working. And so they don't know, how do I become successful, because the processes around me are kind of crumbling. And that's a bit of an exaggeration, but that's just kind of the perception they have, or they see. So the importance of us reaching out to the students and going into the schools is they need to see civic leaders that are approaching issues and coming together, because they need to see that the political process does work. They need to see business leaders that are coming up with creative solutions for their community so that they know that business does work. They need to see all of these different areas because they just need examples of adults who are finding success or looking for solutions or something like that. That's going to be really key because they're fearful almost to the point of being paralyzed. Some of them.
Thank you. And I'm glad you shared that because that's something we'll do later in our brainstorming session. A lot of times we look at industry experts coming in from businesses or certain industries, but also civic participation is big. And it is one of those progress meters that we want kids to be looking at our political processes, our government structures, how they have a voice. And so that is one of the progress meters. And I'm glad we're going to be talking about natural resources. Those are other things that we want industry folks and people that are from those industries to come in and share with the students and have the students be all aware, not just in certain career pathways. So thank you. We're going to go ahead and move on. Thank you. There were some great conversations I heard. In our group, we did hear of an industry partner that would like to come into the schools in the CTE department. So that's the kind of connections we want to make, and we want to make them a lot easier. So we're going to move on to our panel discussion. In our panel discussion, we are going to go down the list, and we're going to have a few people share out some connecting projects that are working. And so the first thing we'll do is I'll have each and every one of them first introduce themselves. They'll introduce their project, and some of them brought some PowerPoints that they want to give a kind of a quick view of what a summary of what their project is. And they're going to be answering a couple of things within their introduction. How'd their program get started? What was the need? Who does it serve? Highlights and benefits of the program. And a couple of them brought some participants that they'll introduce, and then we'll have some further questions for the participants and for the program representatives. So we're going to go one at a time, have them introduce their program, and we'll do it that way. So we'll start, and I'll just go down the list on our agenda. So first up, we have Bob Jackson. He's from the Chief Pinal Group and from the subcommittee that is doing some student programming at Achieve Pinal. Some of you might know him as a former mayor of Casa Grande, which is also one of his, goes on his resume sheet. But we're going to go ahead and turn it over to Bob, and he'll get going. So thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Joel. You know, I think that, as you said, I'm part of a group called Achieve Pinal now. And what started Achieve Pinal is the governor came out with his Achieve 60 AZ program, where he wanted 60% of the people from 24 to 60, I think, or 64, to have training beyond high school. And about the same time, the Education Progress Meter came out, and certainly Arizona's numbers weren't very good, and Pinal County's numbers were even worse. So I went into the website and kind of drilled down to the school level so I could see, you know, where was Casa Grande, where was Eloy, where was Superior, and I could see that we had several huge problems. And as Chief Pinal, we have tried to address more than just the Careertopia program. We are a subset of the Pinal Alliance for Economic Growth. They operate as our 501c3, among other things. They also are a huge support. I know Patty King is one of the people here in the audience, and she is our kind of executive director of the Alliance and does all of the hardcore work for us as a committee. We created Achieve Pinal, and it's made up of government officials, educators, business leaders, and just community members from across the county. We also give a shout out to Mayor Craig McFarland from Casa Grande. He has been on the committee and has done yeoman's work in helping us get funding and participating in our meetings. As we looked at the problem, what we were finding is that industry was really frustrated with the preparedness of the workforce. And we were hearing from a lot of students that they really didn't have a good feel for what kind of jobs were available. In Pinal County, we're expecting over 30,000 jobs in the next 10 years. And we need to make sure the students of today understand what those jobs are going to be and are properly trained. So we came up with the idea of Careertopia. It is I will talk about where we're going with it, but it is a 2-hour conference, if you will, given at the high school level, targeted at high school juniors. We typically have had about 200 kids in each session. Some of them are in each conference. Some have been a little bit more. We've got a total that we've provided service to of about 1,500 kids at 5 high schools, and we've done 7 sessions. Some of the high schools were big enough we had to do 2. And we've done them across the county. We've done both high schools in Casa Grande. We've done Cabot High School in Coolidge. We've done Coolidge High School, and we've done Superior High School. We were scheduled to do one in Santa Cruz last April. And as we all know, we had the COVID start in March, so we had to cancel that. And we were working at the time with Florence High School to do one in Florence early this summer. The way the system works, we start off with a general session where we talk about jobs of the future. And all of us have been in the workforce for a while and think about jobs that have gone away. Think about jobs that are there today that weren't there 10 years ago. And that's what the future is going to look like. We're going to see more and more jobs disappear. We're going to see new jobs come up that we haven't even thought about yet. And we want to make sure that young people understand that as they plan their college and post-high school careers. We then go into breakout sessions. The breakout sessions are 30 minutes long. We typically work with the high school before we come and decide which breakout sessions they want. We target 20 to 30 students in each one. We have about 20 different breakout sessions that we can offer. We bring in 2 industry speakers. They speak for about 10 minutes apiece and then answer questions. And what we're finding is the speakers really like it because they are talking to kids or talking to students that are interested in the programs. The students like it because they're listening to industry people that are doing the job. And we give all the speakers an outline. We ask them, of course, to talk a little bit about who they are, where they work, what kind of experience that they have to do the job they do today. What kind of benefits does your employer offer? Because so many high school kids don't realize that there's a benefit package that goes along with salaries. And one of the more popular ones we've found is tuition reimbursement. And there are lots of companies out there that do that. We try to target Pinal County companies to come and speak because we want the students of today, if they want to go away to college, that's fine, but we want to make sure that they understand that there are jobs available locally that they can come back to. We then also ask them to talk a little bit about salaries for the field. We don't want to necessarily know how much do you make, but if I were to go into that field, what is the range of salaries that I could expect to make? What kind of training, education, licensing is required? And finally, ask the speaker to talk about things that they did in high school that help create the relevancy between high school and what you do in your career. We've been incredibly lucky with our speaker group. I will tell you the 4 most popular breakout sessions are the trades, engineering, medical, and public safety. And we work with Arizona at Work to identify employment sectors within Pinal County. And if schools are undecided about what they want, we kind of push them into those breakout sessions. Some of the other ones we've offered, we do have an IT cybersecurity session. We've got a hospitality session. We've got advanced manufacturing, which we need to figure out a new name for because there are a ton of jobs in that market, but a lot of kids see advanced manufacturing, they don't know what it is. Good jobs, well-paying, great benefits, good companies. We need to figure out how to get that message out better. So we're going to figure out how to change the name. Okay, let's fast forward to where we are today. We can't get into high schools anymore and do group sessions. So we are in the process of developing what we're calling Career Expo now. We originally named it Careertopia 2.0. It's going to go onto a virtual platform. Through the generosity of Abbott Nutrition here in Casa Grande, they funded the development of an app. We are currently in the process of populating that app. And as soon as it's available, I'll share it with Joel Villegas, and Joel will get it out to all of the members that are here today. And we would love for you to access that. Our website is achievepinal.com, and you can see the programs we operate under that. And like I said, as soon as we get the app up and running and populated, we'll reach out to everybody on email and let them know where we are. I would love to have anybody who is interested in doing a virtual interview. We're doing interviews now. We'll do them via Zoom. We'll record them and then upload them. If you have a particular job that you're interested in, if you could reach out to me, and Joel can give you my contact information if you're so interested. We would love to schedule time to have you do the interview. The beauty of the virtual platform is we can do as many as we want, and kids will be able to go in and specifically target the occupation they're interested in. And the example I use a lot is engineers. You know, we had a lot of kids that were interested in being an engineer. I could only bring 2 into a session. So maybe I bring in a civil and a mechanical, and the guy wants to be an electrical. And so by doing this virtually, they can say, I want to be an electrical engineer. There should be a breakout session specifically for electrical engineers. So I don't want to use up too much time here, but that's an overview of what we're doing. Again, visit our website. If you want to volunteer to be interviewed, please reach out to Joel and he can give you my contact information. And hopefully we'll be up and running in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, thank you, Bob. And Bob, we do have Melanie. She'll participate a little later. Melanie Edwards is from one of the districts that did the Careertopia. And so she'll kind of talk from her perspective of that program. We do have our next panelist, and she's representing a project-based learning showcase out of Florence K School. We have Deanne Potter, and she's going to talk about her program and some of the connections they make there. So go ahead, Deanne, and go share your screen. I know she has a slideshow to go with her presentation.
Awesome. Thanks, Joel. I'm the principal at Florence K-8, which is in the Florence Unified School District. We're pretty rural. And so the way that we started doing project-based learning was that we were supposed to have a company called Innovation Pavilion that was going to be moving into the Florence area and just bringing in a lot of industry. And so we wanted to start to make those connections with them so that our kids had just a know of these are some jobs that are going to be available by the time you graduate high school. Because although, you know, I know I was just talking to high school kids, we want to start that conversation early when they're in the lower grades as well. So we started doing project-based learning in the entire school. We focus on 2 things twice a year, and we do 2 showcases. Now this is pre-COVID, of course. So we try to focus one semester on environment and then the next semester on energy. And then we carry those focuses year after year so that students can build their capacity on that subject as they go higher in our school. We try to have grade levels make connections with outside industries and different services that are offered in our area. And that's where Joel has been a really big benefit for us because I would say that one of the big struggles is just not knowing what we don't know or who we don't know. So sometimes, as Joel was saying earlier, as teachers, we get stuck in like, these are my standards and I have to meet them. And it's hard to expand and look at the big picture of, in the end, what's really going to make the impact on the student. So some of the connections we were able to make is our kindergartners had the trash company come in and bring their truck and just talk about all the things that the trash company does. We had our 7th graders go to the water treatment plant that's here in Florence and learn about just how water is treated and how it's recycled, and they got to watch that whole process. There were definitely some interesting conversations with that. And then we've also been able to connect with the town of Florence and have them come in and bring in some technology pieces that they can use to help our students just advance the projects that they have done. So what I have up on the screen, I'm not going to go through all of it, but when we have our showcase, we invite all of our parents into the gym or the cafeteria just to kind of highlight overall what we're doing so that they can see the bigger picture instead of just what my own kid is doing. And we try to have it be an interactive piece between the students and the people that are coming around. We're trying to get away from that whole science fair mentality that we've all been used to for the last several years and have more of that discussion of this is our project and this is why we did it and the connections that we can make and have conversations with the people that are coming around. So each grade level has driving questions that they focus on that again are centered around whatever our theme is. So the kindergarten driving question was protecting and improving our Florence environment. We tried to encourage our teachers to come up with a problem that would help our community or our area specifically. This was with our environment one. So you can see the rad truck was here talking about trash and recycling. And then we have a community garden that the kindergartners walked down to and saw the things that our community can do to participate together in their garden and different recycle pieces that they had in their garden. Our first grade was how we can use the resources to help recycle water. So again, trying to build on what they learned in first grade and just add a different piece to it. Let's see. Our second grade had different ways, different things that you could plant different things in and how it would affect those different plants. Our fourth grade talked about using global buckets to conserve water. And so these are some of, they had a guest speaker come in and talk about aquaponic gardening. We actually have a teacher that's trying to build an aquaponic garden in his classroom this year. Our fifth grade was the life cycle of a plastic water bottle. And something else that we do just to add to this is our art teacher. Her name is Sarah Claire. She's amazing. And all of the art projects that she does with our kids throughout the semester all feed to whatever their project is based on. So like fifth grade, for instance, they were talking about, you know, what happens with the recycled bottles. They took them and created different art projects with the water bottles that were being recycled. Our sixth grade, designing systems that recycle water and displace through transparency or transpiration. So they had created a water system and they would collect data on it. And then after so much, like after we go on break, we have like a fall break or spring break, they would come back and note what happened to it. And then they had to make some kind of change to it to try to improve that project that they had done. These are our seventh graders that went to the water waste plant. And then our eighth grade talked about how can we as citizens analyze communities that are established, executed by creating a utopian society. And so they just kind of took that different turn, and this tied into their language arts units as well, which were focused on utopian societies. So that's kind of an overview of what we do. It's definitely a struggle right now. I mean, our teachers are so focused on like, pull your mask up and please use hand sanitizer. And did you wash your hands when you came back? Like, like this is kind of in the back burner, but definitely trying to bring in more of that virtual aspect of making connections outside of our school. We do have one teacher that's adopted a cow virtually from Oklahoma. So
Thank you for that, Deanne, and we'll get back to you with another question here in a bit. So the next program we have is the Change Project. Erica Ballesteros will describe that program. She did bring a student from the program that will be able to share also. Erica is the CEO. We have her listed of that program, and it stands for Chief Energizing Officer. I think I got it right. So
Sorta.
let's go
It's
ahead
okay.
and welcome Erica Ballesteros, and go ahead and describe the Change Project for us.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Joel, for the introduction. Chief Energy Officer. If any of you have actually read the book, John Gordon's The Energy Bus, I read it a couple of years ago, and I was like, one day I'm going to have that title. And, you know, clever spin on CEO. And for the next 5-6 minutes, when you hear me, you'll see why I created that. But so my entire 15 years in my professional career has been all in recruiting and training and professional development. And several years ago, I joined an organization where my leader was very much in the trenches of youth development within education committees. And I kind of followed suit. And I immediately joined the Queen Creek Chambers Education Committee. I joined the Gilbert Chambers Education Committee. And one thing I kept hearing as consistent pains and challenges was this massive struggle with youth employability. And so we're obviously talking a lot about that today, right? We're trying to create some solutions to solve those pains and problems, but we were talking a lot, and we continue to try to create strategies on, well, what are we doing to really empower our future workforce for workforce readiness, to close that soft skills gap. A lot of local employers that would join the committees would, you know, say that our youth are really struggling just to have the confidence to even articulate who they are, what's the value that they can bring to this organization without maybe bringing mommy or daddy into the interview with them, which has happened a lot. I know that that happened with me as well, especially when I was in the staffing world of recruiting. And I really wanted to, I'm the kind of person, even just the name, the Change Project, if you're familiar with that Gandhi quote, be the change that you wish to see in this world. I am the kind of person that I don't just talk about things that I want to do, I take action on it. And so I have been facilitating sales and business and life skill courses for years. And the greatest transformation that I saw with the adults that I was working with were all soft skill based, right? We didn't really get this in our formal education. We didn't learn what's your unique strengths and how you're going to maximize them in your life. And we didn't learn how to solve problems or how to handle emotional ups and downs. We were just sort of thrusted into scenarios and like floundering as we were swimming around in it. And still to this day, I don't think that that's something that most of us have unless we've gone through some sort of formalized training program. So I had a conversation one day at the end of a chamber luncheon with a gentleman that is a director over at ASU, and he was sharing with a bunch of us about how there's so many college students that were quitting in their first semester. And I said, well, what do you attribute that to? And he said two things. One, I don't think that our youth are ready to go out and do life outside of their parents' womb. And I don't think that they have the wherewithal of the things that they're really curious and interested in order to really confidently invest thousands of dollars for their education. And I sat back and I thought, that's it. Like, Erica, you know, you got courageous and you started your own business. It's time to start your own course. So I launched a 9-week workforce development training course. So I kind of married all of my background in recruiting, training and development, and really kind of brought together the things that I love the most. For those of you who are familiar with Gallup's Clifton Strengths Finder tool, I'm a massive advocate for it. I think it's one of the greatest tools to create self-awareness, to help you understand the ways in which we can perform at a higher level on a consistent basis. So I use that tool. It's the foundation of this program. And then every single week, I am going through this program with students to help them understand how to live with purpose, how to not just set goals in life, but to understand all of the emotional and mental barriers that get in our way from actually achieving them. I help them learn how to, even though they're the most confident in the pre-course survey in this area, they always feel like social skills, I'm good at them. It's actually our biggest problem when you think about us as a society, how to listen and understand each other. We don't do that effectively. Why? Because we were never really taught, who are we? How do we process information differently and make decisions differently? And how can we meet people with where they're at, right? Like I always joke with people, like if everyone was as exuberant as I am, we'd all need a nap by like 10 a.m. So at the end of the day, like we have to be different, right? We've got to have, as Bob was sharing, the engineers in the world and different brain processes, they create different things. They have different creative energies. And so then I take them through a problem solving exercise and how to solve problems with people, but also how to do that within functional improvement type of things. Like if you're owning your own business and you decided to spend oodles of money on your website, you're like, crap, I shouldn't have done that. Okay, how do I solve that problem, not make that same mistake tomorrow? We have an entire session that's just about resiliency. It's about how to view bad events as temporary, which, as you can imagine, facilitating it this year has been even more powerful because we get to talk about how to argue with your fears, how to take action that produces positive emotion in your life. And then we go through, all of these interviewing skills. And I don't tell them, hey, you're going to slam every interview you go on. Guess what? You're going to meet with some people that don't even know how to interview. And that's going to suck. But at the end of the day, like you're going to walk away going from it, I don't want to work for you. And that's cool too. And so I think I want to empower them with the clarity of what feels good for me, what's right for me, and what direction that I can go. And to come back to, even what Bob shared earlier, I have a session that's called Learning from Local Leaders, where the leaders come in and they share their unique stories and their guiding success principles, maybe the hot mess of life that they're in right now. And I ask them to be raw and authentic with them so that the students can kind of feel like this breath of relief, right? Like we are pressuring our students in so many ways to figure out, who are you today? What are you going to do tomorrow? And I don't know about you, I didn't have that stuff figured out at 18 years old. And I like to kind of focus on who are you not, right? Like, what are the things that you can say, like, all right, I'm not a liar, or I really love to, influence, love and positivity with my friends. Okay, cool. Like that's probably in alignment with a strength that you have. How can we cultivate that? How can we develop it? And so when I first pitched this program, I had 3 different school administrators that were all serving on my Chamber's Education Committee. 2 of them are on the line here today. And I was like, look, all I need is a room after school. I need to come in and talk to your students so they can apply for this. And guess what? I'm going to go out and get local businesses to sponsor and fund this because I want them to invest in the development of our youth. And if I can bridge that gap, cultivate the talent coming their way, then they're going to want to invest more. And I'm going to help solve the pains and challenges that exist, not just with our youth, but we're booming, right? Everybody knows we're growing like gangbusters in Arizona. Well, how can we capitalize on that growth to truly help our communities thrive and prosper? And the only way we're going to be able to do that is to build the people driving it. And I'm not saying us adults are a lost cause. Like, don't get me wrong, I still love working with adults on, the corporate side and even on the municipality side. But our youth, what I love about them? They're like sponges. And these types of skills are not being taught in school today, but they can be developed. And my goal with them is, how can I help you develop positive success habits that allow for you to understand your unique value, your unique worth, and ultimately, when you think about what even Raleigh said earlier, the issues with anxiety, depression, suicide, without getting emotional with you guys, like I really feel like this program, it doesn't just help set them up for workforce readiness, it helps them understand how to love themselves, which maybe sounds corny to some of you, but at the end of the day, if we could actually do that, imagine how we could inspire expanding beliefs with those around us. And that's what I love and witness time and time again with the students that go through this program. And so I have a student that's on the line with me today who is kind of like my little mini rock star. Like, I just love her. She graduated from this program a year ago. By the way, just to share a couple of stats with you guys. So I give the students a survey in the beginning of the course at the end, and it is a measurement of where you at in all the categories this course covers, which I just shared, in the beginning at the end. In the first year, I had 36 students that went through the program, and they experienced a 92% collective growth increase. So where they were answering like in the 3s and the 4s in the beginning of the course, they're at the 8s and 9s and 10s at the end. And if you're a data-driven person, you're like, wow, if you haven't studied stuff before, you're like, that's freaking awesome. I know, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but at the end of the day, I believe in one thing. One, if we can create an environment of unconditional love and acceptance and make these students feel safe to share how they've gone out and practiced these action steps week after week, guess what? They're okay with saying I epically failed, or that I had the success, and that inspires the other students to go, all right, I didn't practice that this week. Like I need to do it next week, and that's where they gain and benefit from the program. And so I had 36 last year, 43 students that got funded this year. By the way, I didn't share this, but out of the 36, I only had 25 funded last year. I have funded 43 students, which I charge $1,250 per student for this. $250 that goes to the student at the end of the program, provided they don't miss more than one session. It helps me get a little skin in the game so I can say, so remember what you said on your application and you wanted to gain this, this, and this? You want that money? Show me. I'm really trying to help them fight for the things that they're going to have to fight for in life anyway. So I'm super proud of it. I also started a nonprofit. So those people out there that said, I'll fund this, Erica, when you're a charity. And I said, then I guess I better get a charity. So got that funding funnel set up. So I will stop talking and I will let Michelle Enriquez take over. She is a senior over at American Leadership Academy's Ironwood campus. I facilitated this both there and at Combs, and I've also done it at the Queen Creek Chamber of Commerce. But Michelle, you beautiful soul, take it away. Go ahead and share kind of the benefits that you've gained from the program.
Thank you. So like Eric was saying, hello everyone, I am Michelle, and you guys are gonna think this is super corny, but I genuinely think that from a student standpoint, there was an overabundance of benefits that came from being a part of this program. And first and foremost, it's just that each cohort was so incredibly different, and each one was paramount for providing the space needed for each participant to start getting used to sharing and talking about different topics that is going to be needed when you go out into the workforce. And coming from a teenager that has friends who are going out into the workforce or are already working, one of the things that I hear them talk about all the time is that they need to develop their communication and soft skills. And this program was like the perfect blend of exposure to both of those. And it was just so amazing because every week we would have this activity where we would all participate when we got together for the course, where everyone in the room had to share a story or experience that related to the topic question of that day. And it was just amazing to watch everyone get out of their comfort zone and share that story. And even more so when that first person who was able to share was able to set the tone for everyone else in the room, because then everyone would try to match their energy. And it was just phenomenal to watch those kids who used to be shy and would share at the very end to move up to being the first people to share in just a few sessions. It was amazing. And because at the end of the day, yes, we were learning the fundamentals of transitioning into the workforce, such as learning how to write up a resume and getting that firsthand advice from business leaders, but it was so much more than that. And my biggest takeaway personally was, having gone through this course, was learning to change my mindset in order to achieve my goals. Because I, believe it or not, am a very shy and reserved person. And I learned that I needed to start doing things for myself and that I didn't need the validation from other people to feel successful in what I was doing. So this course became the backbone to my involvement in other organizations at school that I never thought I would be a part of. And the confidence that this course gave me led me to run for a position in the National Honor Society, for example, at my school. And I've been leading as president since August. And I have just seen myself improve so much since being a part of this course. And I am just forever grateful for being able to have the opportunity to have been a part of it. And I genuinely don't know where I would be without it. So yeah, that is my takeaway from this. Thank you so much.
See, this is why I invited her, by the way. She not just like, yeah, Miss Shaw, you are far from that. This is the kind of stuff that gets me geeked out. And honestly, I even kind of stopped chasing corporate training opportunities, because even though I still have a lot on the horizon for 2021 because of COVID, I spent even more of my time trying to get sponsorships and fundraisers. This year, I did about 20,000 in fundraiser alone, which, you'd be surprised who still wants to go and show up to live events, even though I know that maybe is like a little shunned upon given COVID, but at the end of the day, I still want to impact more youth. And even for people that maybe can't show up, but they wanted to fund it, that's kind of my goal, is to expand the partnerships to get it scaled within schools. So it's not just me facilitating it, it's maybe some career counselors or educators that want to get certified to facilitate it and take it within the schools. And so, and outside of that, I start working with Canyon State Academy's at-risk girls starting in 2021. And so I believe this program isn't just something that should be within the school walls. It can be within youth detention centers and drug addiction, treatment centers, you name it. Like, it has so many ways it can move. I'm just going to work on what I can right now. But I just appreciate the opportunity to be able to share it with you guys and help make a bigger difference. So thank you again, Joel, for the opportunity to do this today.
Thank you, Erica, and thank you, Michelle. Well said. All your points were great benefits to that program. And we're going to move along to our next program featured today, and it's the Pinal County Youth Program. I'll turn it over to Sophia Walgren, who is the Career Navigator. She's part of that CAC and Arizona at Work collaborative program. So take it away, Sophia.
Hi, everybody. Let me uncover my camera. So I'm going to share my screen with everybody and go through a little PowerPoint that I've created. Okay. So Arizona at Work Pinal County is a federally funded Department of Labor program that works to help job seekers find high quality employment, train a skilled workforce, and strengthen the economy. The youth program is one branch of the Arizona at Work Pinal County system. The youth program's mission is to help young adults overcome obstacles that prevent them from receiving an education and finding a great career. This program helps equip youth with the tools needed to complete an educational program and find gainful employment. Each youth program participant is partnered with a career planner who will work to create a customized plan for academic and employment success, all at no cost to the participant. The youth program offers 14 services along 4 major themes: preparing for and succeeding in employment, improving educational achievement, support and financial assistance, and developing the youth as community leaders. So who are our participants? They are opportunity youth that are currently unenrolled in school. So they've dropped out of high school. They're between the ages of 16 and 24, and they must show evidence of at least one barrier to education, such as lacking a GED. So how might a career planner help one of these opportunity youth? We assist by preparing them for interviews, assisting in writing resumes, and re-engaging youth in education. We also offer financial assistance for things like GED testing, assisting in applying for FAFSA, and offering workplace exposure. The youth program is often asked where we find opportunity youth and how we keep them engaged. We find opportunity youth first through the Arizona at Work Pinal County One Stop, our partnership with the Adult Basic Education Program, partnership with Central Arizona College, word of mouth, and community outreach, like with probation officers and foster care case managers. We retain youth by building meaningful relationships with participants. We offer work experience, which is essentially a paid internship, and we offer monetary incentives for certain activities to keep them engaged. During this time of navigating the new normal, the youth program has quickly adapted to an all virtual model to serve participants. The youth program is currently enrolling opportunity youth into the program through 100% virtual means. All interviews are conducted online, documents are digital and fillable, and all activities are offered virtually. Since the beginning of coronavirus, the youth program needed a way to continue offering services. The youth program has set up a Google Classroom, which houses youth program activities like dropout recovery information, entrepreneurial skill building, and labor market research. The classroom gives participants the opportunity to complete workshops digitally in lieu of face-to-face workshops, which alleviates some barriers like transportation and babysitters. So we are now able to provide more resources than ever, and it's all at our participants' fingertips. Currently, all participants are entering into a virtual work experience, which again is like a paid internship. It offers an opportunity for career exploration and skill development. The first section of the work experience has participants explore their own strengths and weaknesses while researching a career pathway. The research and exploration are brought together in a PowerPoint presentation that the participant can keep being updated like a portfolio. The second work experience project is all about digital literacy skills to help prepare the youth for the new normal of working from home. There are 4 themes in the third portion of the work experience: resume writing, cover letter writing, money management, and interviewing skills. Participants engage in workshops, learning modules, complete quizzes, and utilize their writing skills. At the end of the WEX, participants should have completed their own budgets, resumes, cover letters, and done a mock interview with their career planner. So lastly, we have employer engagement. The youth program engages with employers through several different means, such as network meetings, job fairs, and partner provided services. The youth program is also in the process of creating an informational interview data bank for participants. We're establishing questions, forms, and again, that data bank of willing employers. The youth program also utilizes developed career pathways by encouraging students to enter into academic programming that leads directly to employment, such as the Wilson Electric and STEM construction programs. Please contact the youth program with any questions you may have about the presentation. And if you know of an opportunity youth who might benefit from our services, please send them our way. And if you know of any employers who would be willing to do a work experience or internship or be available for an informational interview, please refer them as well. And I do want to introduce Desiree Ellison, who is a youth program participant, and she'll be speaking to you about her experience in the youth program.
Can we see that phone number again, please?
Sure, let me pull that back up.
Or someone could put it in the chat if you want to put it in the chat, Sophia.
Yeah, I can definitely do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. I guess I should start talking now. My name is Desiree. I'm part of the Pinal County Youth Program. I joined the program like pretty much the same time that the pandemic hit. So it was really like, I wasn't sure how it would affect the program and like the progress that I could make, like if the program didn't, if the pandemic never had hit. But honestly, this program has just thrived, even with the pandemic hitting and everything that's been going on. I've been able to complete almost all of my GED exams, passing each one of them on the first try. I have the math exam left. Sophia has been really, really helpful to me, just getting me signed up for all my exams. I didn't have to pay for any of them, which takes like a lot of stress and anxiety off my shoulders, because when the pandemic hit, I had to quit my job, and just a lot, has been going on with everything. And also being able to do the WEX projects that Sophia mentioned through Google Classroom has been really helpful, because with those, you also have the opportunity to earn a little bit of money for completing these programs. So not only are you able to earn a little bit of money, you're also learning, and you're also have something to occupy your time, which is nice, because just like someone else had mentioned about the anxiety and depression, especially right now during the pandemic, I feel like so many people are struggling with that, because it's like you feel stuck. You're like, okay, what am I doing right now? Like, businesses are closing, there's no schools that are open. And then these WEX projects just give you something to do to get your mind off of all of that. And it just feels really nice to be able to keep progressing and feel like you're doing something with your time. And yeah, so like Sophia said, all of the GED tests that I've taken have been paid for through this program, the youth program through Arizona at Work, which has been really helpful for me. And anytime I have a question about a career that I might be interested in, I know that Sophia is literally just a call, email, or text away. She's so good at getting back to me. This program is very organized. I never once felt like I had to keep on like trying to get a hold of her, or I never felt like I was bothering her. And that's something that I really love about this program, is that the information and the tools are there for you as long as you're willing to put in the work. And I love that so much. And I'm so thankful for this program, because if I never had become a part of this program, I don't think I would be where I'm at now. I don't think I would have passed all of these exams. It's just nice to have this support system, because a support system is, to me, your backbone, because it's just so nice to have that person there that you know is rooting for you, genuinely rooting for you, and cares about where you go in life and is just there for you. So I just want to say thank you to everyone involved in this program, and it's really, really helped me so much, and I'm just so thankful for it. So thank you.
Thank you, Desiree. You are an absolute rock star, and I'm proud of you, and I know everyone else is proud of your accomplishments as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sophia and Desiree, for sharing on the youth program through Arizona at Work. We do have one more participant that is going to answer the same question that our participants answered. And this is for Careertopia, and it's Melanie Edwards. She's with Cache Grand Union High School District, one of the districts that actually had both of their high schools participate in the Careertopia. And we just want to kind of round out this conversation with her sharing some of the benefits that she saw.
Hello, everyone. I should say I've taught for many, many years. And one of the foundations of what I tried to bring to kids in my classrooms was that they, through knowledge and through education, you could afford choice. Choice affords voice. And I always wanted our kids to know that they could be bigger, they could do anything they wanted to, but many of our students don't know what that means. I was confined by my lack of math skills. I had a fear of math. And so maybe I wanted to be an engineer, but math was not something that, I needed a realistic purview of what that meant. If I want to be an engineer, what do I need to do to be successful at that? And so I really tried to help my kids in the classroom do that. And Careertopia, actually, I'm so proud of what Bob and Judy Jackson and the committee have done to bring industry into our high schools. A long time ago, our school systems in general, but many years ago when funding was cut to education, we couldn't take kids out to field trips, right? Those were cut. The opportunity to have students hear from other industries, and as Bob mentioned, describing who you are, what characteristics it takes to be this particular, to go into this industry, what kind of education do you need, what skill set, and then of course, the idea of allowing kids to ask questions at the end was very important. I actually had the opportunity to be in the education presentation. Bob, you didn't mention the education one. It's not one of the most popular ones. I'm kind of shocked. But our speakers were pretty amazing. They were teachers, and the students were afforded the ability not to just to see that teaching was not the only job in education. What did it take to be an administrator? Why would you want to be an administrator? What about teaching might be beneficial to you or attractive to you? Talked about, just the food industry, transportation, all of the things, maintenance, administrative assistants, paras in the classroom, all of those levels of jobs and different types of jobs to support in education. Kids were amazed. They asked great questions. I think having the organization, I will say this, it was very well planned and organized. Our speakers were prepared. Both of our high schools, they worked with our guidance counselors at the high schools, and it went very, very smoothly. Everyone involved was professional, allowed kids to be kids, if you will. It helps when your kids are engaged, and I believe our kids were engaged in their speakers. Every session went very well, and the students enjoyed it. I believe that for them, having the opportunity to hear from someone outside of their teacher or mom and dad is very powerful. and giving the kind of information that they are interested in. You know, this is your life. This could be a possible career. So many of our students don't know. They have no idea. They don't know what they're going to do. They become seniors, they graduate, and they don't know what to do. And some of them, frankly, aren't going to go to college. Some of them just aren't. You know, we heard from Sant, I think, a couple of years ago in this forum, and they talked about, you know, paying students to go to school, that opportunity. Oh my gosh, you mean they would pay for me to get my degree, that I could work and have that kind of support? I think that was really critical for a lot of our students as well. Just letting them know that, you know, you don't have to stop in your career projection because you can't go to school. You can be trained while on the job in some cases. And I just think it's been such a positive experience. Both of our principals from the high schools are here, and they have also spoken about how positive the experience was for the students. And I'll tell you what, it was a very positive experience for teachers. We don't like giving up our classroom time, right? We're the only ones that can teach them what they need to know. My content area, we are driven by what we need to teach. And so oftentimes kids will see a waste of time sometimes in a, you know, well, I should say, students want to get out of class sometimes. You all know this. Any excuse to miss Mrs. Edwards' dialectical journals and AP English was anything. I'll clean the cafeteria. But in this case, and then teachers often say, well, it's a waste of time. Do you know what I could be doing with my kids? How is this relevant? And that we got none of that kind of reaction. What we received from teachers and students alike and administrators was, wow, we need to do this more often. This is a fantastic experience for our kids. And so, you know, they didn't find it to be a waste of time. And so often as a teacher, many of you probably know this, bringing that real world relevancy into the classroom is hard. It's a tough thing to get kids to make those connections, and Careertopia allowed that. And I think it gave some kids some hope and some vision of what they might have interest in. You know, we didn't just have girls in the education presentation. We had mixed audiences. We had mixed audiences in all of them. And so to me, that broke down all stereotypes or all gender issues regarding a career. This allowed those kids to hear, to ask some really good questions, and to find out more. And I know that some of our kids contacted or made contacts with some of those presenters and followed up on, you know, questions and opportunities. And that's what this is all about. It's part of our high school mission to provide career opportunities for our kids. We want them to be globally competitive. And I think in a small Pinal County, we want our kids to come back, right? We want them to come back and give to the community. And this was a way for them to hear from some local businesses and the opportunities that they could have to do that. A lot of kids want to come back. I wanted to go back and give to my community that gave so much to me as a young person. And so it was just an amazing opportunity, very appreciative. And Bob's going to talk about some changes that are coming, which makes it even more exciting, because even though COVID is hit, this kind of meeting space, the virtual meeting space, there's some silver linings, right? Again, it allows for more choice. It allows for more people to participate when sometimes they aren't able to in person. So
sorry. And he did share that. Thank you, Melanie. He did share that with us. I'm going to send that once he gets it to me. I'll share it to all the participants about the Career Expo and the transition to Careertopia 2.0. But thank you all of the participants of those great programs for sharing. I know I had one more question for them on the panel, but I'm going to kind of tackle it as we make a transition. And I don't know if you noticed, but each of these programs rely heavily on connections to industry partners, whether it be the Job Leader Program, the Youth Program, PBL at Florence. I'm near and dear to my heart just from STEM and stuff. So I love helping that program when they need participants. I have to jump out and go, wow, I go to any committee I'm on. Do you guys know an engineer? Do you know someone that works with LED lights? And then Richard Rosales will put me in touch with someone from APS. So it's a little bit of legwork that has to be done. And I've sat in when Bob is trying to get all those engineers and teachers together it takes a lot of legwork to get those connections in place. So we're going to make a transition back to how we started the day, which was that video on community share, because we do have a presenter that's going to share about community share and how well it's working in Pima County. And in the back of our heads, we got to think, how can this platform help us here in Pinal County so we could build a human library like they did? And so there is some opportunity for us to become a part of community share. And that's kind of the introductory point that I want to make, is he's going to guide you through a little bit of community share, how they got started, hopefully a live look at their platform so you can see how it works and how easy it is. And so without further ado, I'm going to have Josh Schachter. He's the community share director and founder. I'm going to have him, and if he needs to share screen, he just needs to hit that little button. So thank you, Josh, for joining us.
Thank you. Can you all hear me okay? We're good, okay. I don't know if people need to stretch. If you need a 10-second stretch, go for it, because I know it's a lot. Doing the Zoom thing can be a little exhausting. But I'm honestly, it's been a real pleasure just to listen. The amazing stuff you all are doing in Pinal County is just totally inspiring, in spite of all the challenges we're facing right now in Arizona, across the country, across the world. It's just awesome to have this space to celebrate the amazing work you're doing. So I'm just excited. I'm grateful that Joel had invited me to share a little bit about community share, which seems quite in line with all the amazing work you're already doing. So I'll just share my screen here a sec, and okay. So as I think you probably gathered from the video, community share is really looking at how to engage the community in our schools, similar to so much that's already been shared. I've been an educator about 20 years in schools and out of schools, and that's really how community share started, because I was trying to figure out how to engage community partners in a high school at Catalina High School in Tucson, where I live. And over the years, oops, let's see if I can, there we go. Over the years, we engaged about 100 community partners with our students based on the passions and the projects of our students. Then we found those community folks that were excited to work with them. And they varied. I mean, you can see this is just a sample of some of those partners. They varied from individuals to nonprofits, to Senator McCain's office, to Congressman Grijalva, to all kinds of city council members, nurses, doctors, shopping malls, all kinds of folks. And it was amazing to see the kinds of projects that came out of those partnerships between our classroom and these different groups in Tucson. What happened though is after 8 years, I left the school, and all those partners basically went with me, because I had been the kind of the connector, the matchmaker between our class and the community. And it was amazing, but it also wasn't very sustainable, because people are always moving around, changing jobs. And so how do you maintain those connections between schools and communities beyond having a single coordinator? And so I started to wonder, with a group of educators and other folks in our community, would it be possible to create a human library of human books of knowledge, wisdom, and skills for a whole region, that would enable any young person and educator to tap into those community resources? And what we were sort of thinking about is all the kinds of groups and all the kinds of what I call capital, social capital, creative capital, cultural capital, intellectual capital that lives and exists in a community, whether you're a parent, whether you're a retiree, nonprofit, a business, higher ed, faith community. All these groups have amazing knowledge and skills to share with young people, but there's not an easy way to tap into that. And people want to help, but they don't often know where their unique lived experience and their knowledge base is needed. So long story short, before we started trying to address that challenge, we said, well, we better first find out if teachers actually want the community to be more engaged. So we sent a survey to about 9,000 teachers, and we found, yes, there was a lot of interest, and we asked them, well, why isn't it happening? And not surprisingly, one, they just don't have time to look for partners. Two, they don't know where to find them. And three, they often didn't know how to integrate the partners into their curriculum beyond maybe a guest speaker, but if they want to do a longer term collaboration. So those were some of the challenges that we heard from educators here in Pima County. So in 2015, what we ended up doing is building the online platform that Joel mentioned, and this was the kind of the beta version of it. And I'm gonna hop off here, and then I'm gonna hop onto our platform so you can get a sense of what that looks like. So on our platform, the way it works, and this is the third version of the platform. So we, like any innovation and sort of tech, you're constantly iterating and developing. And basically the way it works is an educator or a partner, so a PK educator, which an educator can be in school or out of school, or a partner can sign up, and they just click sign up. And then the way it works is you create a profile, this similar to like a Match.com for education, or whatever metaphor you want to use. And so in this case, I'll just show you what happens if you're a partner. I'm gonna walk you through all the steps, but this is my profile so you could see. But basically you're asked to upload a photo, your name, your zip code, who you are, how do you, why do you want to work with young people and educators? Do you have any past experience working with youth, and your demographics? And then we ask people where they work, so they can have as many associations of workplaces as they want. Then we ask them what kinds of grade levels would a partner, would they want to work with? Do they want to work with young kids, or high school kids, or what have you? What kinds of activities do they want to host? A field trip, job shadow, mock interview, so on and so forth? Are they interested in working with specific kinds of youth, teen parents, youth of color, first generation college bound youth, English language learners? And then in this part, they describe what are the kinds of skills or expertise. So if they know about, for example, agriculture and vet science, they can say, hey, I know about hydroponics. And then they type in specifically what they know about hydroponics. And we spend about a year kind of developing this sort of like a taxonomy, whether it's engineering, so if they know about biomedical engineering, similar thing. And so they can kind of reveal all their work experience and life experience. And then in addition to that, we ask people about their lived experience. And I think Erica was talking about, how important it is to sort of share our whole story, right? Not just sort of what we're, or sort of what we put on our business card, if you will. And so here people can reveal, like, I'm the first person to go to college in my family. And is that something they want to share? Were they in the military? Do they have a disability that they would be interested in talking about how they've managed that? Their cultural heritage, all those kinds of things. And then specifically, they can say, I'm willing to talk about managing time or projects or resumes or securing financial aid. So they can kind of reveal all these different aspects of who they are and their lived experience. And then their social media and so forth. And if they get busy, because we're all busy people, they can even sleep their profile, and so people don't contact them. And then this is the way it actually works. So this is all the folks in Tucson, our platform. And basically a teacher can search for partners, can say, hey, I'm looking for all the partners that know about, let's say computer science. And then those folks should show up, hopefully. So these are Jenny at the Hermosa project, the mining project. And so these are all the things she indicated she can share. And then if you hover over it, specifically what she knows about all these different areas. And so if I was a teacher and I can see, oh, she's willing to work with these grade levels in these ways, I can message Jenny, and that goes to her email, and then we can communicate back and forth, and it records it both on the platform and through email. And then you can continue to search all the partners that are willing to work with high school kids or middle school kids, willing to be guest speakers or mentors or course advisors, all these other kind of categories, interested in talking about interviewing for a job or applying to college, interested in working with certain kinds of youth, and then location, the number of miles from where you're located. And then similarly, you can search, teachers can search for teachers, and partners can search for teachers, and vice versa. So you could find all the teachers, in high school or middle school that are signed up, all the teachers in certain content areas. And then we just added this where teachers can reveal also their kind of teaching practice, their biggest passions, like if they're interested in STEM or mindfulness or blended learning or arts integration. And if teachers can't find what they're looking for, they just click this button, and then they can send an email to the staff in Tucson, and we help them find the partner here in town. And then we also created a gallery of actual projects, real world projects that partners have done with teachers through Community Share. So just as an example, these are like little case studies. This was a project about pollination. So there's a little description and the grade level, and then actual images of what happened. And then a teacher or a partner could even contact that teacher and say, hey, what was it like working with that classroom or with that partner? Did you like it? Would you share your curriculum? What would you do differently if you did it again? So those are different ways that folks can engage. So that's how our platform works. And then I know we're running short on time, so I'll quickly jump through let's see if I can do this here. Okay. And then, so that's the platform. Where our next steps are, we're actually gonna enable teachers to actually not just message the partners, but actually post projects or requests to support more project-based learning. So they could describe a project they wanna do, and then the system will automatically find the partners based on how they described it. And then partners will soon be able to create offers. So if a community member, a business or nonprofit or social service agency is offering a workshop, they can post it and educators can search and find those opportunities. And then lastly, we're adding a data dashboard. So a region will know everything that's going on in their community in terms of who's connecting, what kinds of impacts are they seeing, and all that. And then these are just some other examples of projects that have happened through Community Share. This was a project between the University of Arizona and the middle school and high school, where the kids learned how to construct a chicken coop and then to take care of chickens. And so this, they spent a whole semester learning construction. This was another example where elementary school kids in a robotics class connected with Creative Machines, which is an invention studio. And it was pretty cool to see how the kids really got to see engineering in action from actual engineers. And then just to talk to the virtual piece, when COVID hit, obviously everything shifted to virtual. This was actually a pre-K classroom that connected with a physics expert, STEM professional up here. And so they had delivered STEM kits to each family. And then the parents and the kids co-constructed STEM projects and kits virtually with a STEM professional. So virtual, you can absolutely, continue to do this work. And then these are just some of the impacts we've seen in terms of student engagement and how it's impacting our teachers, which has been exciting. And then, as I mentioned, we have our platform. We obviously engage the community. We also run a fellowship. So this year we have 20 teacher fellows from Yuma and Tucson that are part of a real world learning, community engaged learning cohort that spend 8 months integrating community engagement and real world learning and career pathway into their curriculum. And then in addition to that, we've given about 80 grants to teachers to work on projects with partners, as well as some of these other components. And then these are just some intersections of how we've seen it apply, whether it's CTE or workforce development, STEAM, PBL, 21st century, social emotional learning. And just to finish up, if we were to partner with Pinal County, which obviously we would be excited to, right now we're in Tucson, Las Cruces, working in Yuma and in Phoenix. And it would be great to partner with you all. Is there in each place there's a host, and they help recruit the partners and engage the teachers to know that this resource exists. And then we, as community share, can help regions develop a community engagement strategy if that's helpful, or help think about a teacher engagement strategy through a fellowship or what have you. And then obviously the online platform piece of it. So this is, and just to give a sense, as I mentioned, we're in those 4 cities. And then this is to give you a sense of really all over the country and world right now, we're kind of fielding calls because there really isn't anything quite like the platform in the country. And so we're looking at how can we grow and hopefully impact the lives of more young people and educators. So with that, I will stop sharing my screen, and I'm happy to answer any questions. But as I said, I'm really inspired by what you all are doing, and it seems pretty synergistic with the philosophy of community share, because we're all about how to build something from the community up, So thanks for your time, and happy to answer questions.
Well, Josh, thank you for sharing. I'm seeing a lot of positive comments over in the chat. So thank you. For everyone else, you see the importance of the projects. Bob, Erica, anyone that connects to industry, how simple they've made this, the way to connect. And even for teachers, Deanne, I know we're always looking for professionals to come in the classroom. How easy would it be to go, hey, I need someone that can do hydroponics like your teacher's gonna do, was doing. So we really appreciate this presentation. That's the hope here, is for us to keep that ball rolling and to make sure what are our next steps? And we'll talk about that a little later, but Josh, thank you for sharing. And we will, later on, we'll talk about next steps in relationship to community share. So thank you. And you guys can keep commenting. We'll record these and maybe have some questions at the end. So we do have one more presentation before one more breakout, but we do have, if you recall, the last couple years, we've been focused on the progress meters. And last year we got the first peek at the new progress meter indicators. Young talent had not been developed yet, the indicators. So we have invited Center for Future of Arizona, and Madison Rock will be presenting, giving us a quick update on where they are on that young talent. And it's a very important, I think, progress meter, or something to really focus on. I know Melanie mentioned in her presentation, how do we keep those kids? How do we keep them local? And how do we keep them in our communities? And I think these goals, or these indicators, the indicators for sure, and the goals later they'll be developed, will help us achieve that. And how do we retain that young talent? So without further ado, here's Madison Rock from the Center for Future Arizona. And your name rocks, Madison.
Thank you so much, Joel. Yes, it's much better than my maiden name, which is Ninover. So I made quite the upgrade when I married my husband. But yes, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today. Every single time I have the chance to come and listen and attend events that are hosted in Pinal County, I'm always so inspired by the work that's happening here and so energized. So thank you so much to the Pinal County Business, Education, and Workforce Development Summit for the chance to share and really round out this conversation today by presenting our Young Talent Progress Meters. Before we dive into the topic at hand of young talent, I'd like to spend just a few moments describing CFA, our work, and really the foundation that's led us to this focus on the Young Talent Progress Meter. So the Center for the Future of Arizona is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization located in Phoenix, Arizona, but really with a statewide mission of bringing Arizonans together to build a stronger and brighter future for our state. We share trusted information about Arizona and how we're doing on the issues that matter most to Arizonans. We empower our partners in our communities with data and tools so that we can help identify collective goals and work towards shared priorities. Lastly, we help to advance new thinking and promising practices to really catalyze systemic change, focusing specifically on innovations in education, career and workforce, civic engagement, which I have the pleasure of working on those initiatives. Really core to our mission and commitment at CFA is the understanding that we must listen first, right? We're very, very committed to listening to Arizonans and their shared aspirations and vision. This is expressed by the Arizona We Want, which is a shared vision of success around what matters most to Arizonans that expresses their highest aspirations and hopes for the future. In our commitment to listening to Arizonans, we've conducted countless of community conversations across our state. We've convened hundreds of community leaders, and we brought young people together in focus groups to really better understand their unique perspectives. About 10 years ago, we reached a major milestone in our organization's history in partnering really in the first in the nation effort with the Gallup organization to survey thousands of Arizonans about what mattered most to them. And it might come as a surprise, or maybe not, that we're in fundamental agreement as Arizonans about what matters most to our prosperity and to our future. We believe in quality education and jobs and infrastructure. We believe in the opportunity for improved health and well-being, access to nature and open spaces, improved participation and connectedness in civic life, and of course, the cultivation and retention of our young people. These are all essential really to building that brighter and stronger future for our state. And we're thrilled to announce that we actually just launched, again in partnership with Gallup, a new Gallup Arizona poll, which will have results ready to share next year. And this will really allow us to continue refining our understanding of what matters most to Arizonans today. So the foundation provided by the Arizona We Want really begs the question of, if we know what Arizonans want, how do we measure progress that we're making towards our shared goals? Recently, CFA really in the beginning of 2019, and as you all are very familiar with, launched the set of robust tools that we call the Arizona Progress Meters that help us to do that, just that. Measure our progress on the 8 priority areas of the Arizona that we want. They were developed through a rigorous multi-year process that included close consultation with Arizona leaders and technical experts, a really critical review from over 300 experts in our state, and the insights of young people gathered through focus groups. In order for any metrics to be included in our progress meters, they had to be easily understandable and digestible, supported by regularly updated, trusted and reliable public data, and useful as a guidepost for policy and practice. And as you all are well aware, and we're so thrilled about, we're really just excited to see how these tools have been used in Pinal County as one of our promising models for how data can spark dialogue, how it can illuminate new challenges and opportunities and support long-term planning for communities. For the Young Talent Progress Meter, we took a slightly different approach to determine the metrics that would be included. We really stuck true to how we approach our work center-wide and realized that we must listen first to young Arizonans about what matters most to them in order to create the Young Talent Progress Meter. So to do this, we launched a statewide listening effort where we turned to young Arizonans to ask them what their hopes and dreams were for their families and their communities, what attracts them to Arizona, and what might cause them to leave. The voices have informed the launch of our Young Talent Progress Meter and also our Young Talent Survey Report, which, like all of our other progress meters, provides reliable and trusted data to measure how we're doing on the issues that matter most to young Arizonans and are used to help inform dialogue and spark action. So one of the data points that really helped to spark and illuminate this focus on young talent and the critical nature of this issue in our state is that unfortunately, many young people who graduate from our universities leave our state. And we know that the future of Arizona, as many of you mentioned in the presentations earlier today, is really dependent on the young people who live and thrive here. So immediately upon graduation, we see that 20% of our college graduates leave. And that's presumably because they were from somewhere else to begin with. But what's really troubling is that after just 15 years, we lose about 50% of our college graduates. So that means that 50% of our college graduates are no longer in our communities contributing, they're no longer frequenting our businesses, and they're no longer in our workforce as well. So this has really been a driving force behind the importance of the Young Talent Progress Meter. To determine what would be included in our progress meter, we held 20 focus groups with young people across our state. We conducted a survey that received over 2,000 responses, and we also launched a Young Talent Advisory Group comprised of about 25 really amazing, dynamic young professionals that have really helped to shape, guide, and add some texture to the amazing data that we received through the surveys and the focus groups. And now we are thrilled that we're finally in the phase of releasing these results and providing data on the issues that matter most to young Arizonans. Our ultimate goal is that this data will serve as a framework for long-term conversations around cultivating and attracting and retaining young people for Arizona. So finally, what everyone's been waiting for, what are young Arizonans' dreams, hopes, aspirations for our state, and what do we need to do better in order to keep young Arizonans here? We know with absolute certainty that equitable access to opportunity and upward mobility is a key concern to young Arizonans. Our current data has illuminated the deep disparities and disproportionate impacts of the pandemic and economic crisis on young people, particularly communities of color. And we know access to high quality education, cost of housing, access to good healthcare are really top of mind for young people. In Arizona, our young people are telling us that they're deeply concerned. We heard about the education system, the lack of guidance counselors in our schools, and really the need for social services and support so that young people can create a prosperous path forward. And the work being done here in Pinal County with the Chief Pinal and in partnership with the Education Progress Meter to get to that 60% post-secondary attainment rate really helps to further illuminate this issue of critical importance and provide a benchmark of success and strategies to achieve that goal. For young Arizonans in our workforce, we're hearing more and more about their desire to grow and thrive in purpose-driven careers. They care about sustainability, fairness, inclusion, and diversity. We heard these values echoed again and again in the conversations that we had, and really deep concerns about opportunities for advancement and upward mobility. It was great to hear in Bob Jackson's presentation earlier about the importance of tuition benefits for young people in the workforce so that they can continue their ongoing education, for competitive salaries in the workforce in Arizona. And this is something that we definitely heard come through in our conversations and through the survey report. In our exploration and vetting of the data around workplace culture, we looked at surveys from places like Indeed.com and determined that about 30 out of the top 50 top-rated organizations with desirable workplace culture have some sort of presence in Arizona. What we're really interested in through these types of conversations is having the opportunity to dig in more deeply with our business community in Arizona and our young professionals to better understand the what and how behind organizations and companies that are really excelling in terms of workplace culture. Right in line with my professional and personal interests, we heard loud and clear from young Arizonans the desire to be listened to be engaged, and to have a voice. It's really incredibly important for young Arizonans to find a community and to feel connected. and really have the opportunities to make deep impact. Importantly, young Arizonans also want to know that our leaders across our state represent the diverse values of the constituents that they serve and are thinking long-term about our state's future. Young people are concerned about diverse voices being represented at all levels of conversation and ensuring that elected leaders represent the state's interests. And lastly, in all parts of the state, we heard from young Arizonans the need to really reimagine our concept of health and well-being and the healthcare system, whether that manifests as cost, navigating the healthcare system, or quality of care offered. Again, we heard loud and clear the need to bring visibility to the mental health crisis. It's a pretty stark and troubling statistic to see that 60% of our young people that have experienced a major depressive episode have not received the mental health services that are really critically important. As well, young Arizonans are also concerned about the long-term vision of sustainability in terms of environment and water for our state. They're really grappling with questions about how to reconcile preservation of natural resources with economic growth and what kinds of impacts that will have on our future generations. Again, opportunities for engagement. We are just thrilled that both the Young Talent Progress Meter and all of the metrics that are encompassed in that, as well as the statewide survey that we conducted, are available on our website. And we're excited that these will be tools to help inform our ongoing strategy to really spark dialogue and issues around the issues that matter most to young Arizonans. So in addition to hosting conversations like this one, we're engaging young leaders across our state to lift up their voices and tell their own stories, to encourage us all to take action and to work in their own communities to help create the kind of workplace and communities that young adults seek. We're also driving statewide conversations around young Arizonans' shared aspirations and concerns. And lastly, we're bringing together Arizona's rising leaders and established leaders to bring light the concerns of young Arizonans and use the data to spark actions by employers, civic leaders, and policymakers that will respond to the concerns of young Arizonans. It's been such a pleasure again to hear all the great work that's taking place here in Pinal County. I am excited to join some of the breakout conversations that are next on the agenda. I'll definitely drop my contact information into the chat so that if you see an opportunity to bring this Young Talent Progress Meters or any of our progress meters of the Arizona we want to your community, to your organization, we're absolutely thrilled to be able to host these types of conversations and briefings for you. So thank you so much, Joel, and thank you again to the summit for this opportunity.
Thank you, Madison. And we did bump up against time. So, you know, me as an educator, the work time is really important, but we are going to run out of time. So I will share a little bit of what we're going to do in the breakout. And just like a teacher, I'll give you homework. So whatever we were going to do in breakout, I'm going to hope that we'll send everyone that's participating here the documents. And if you could help out, you know, we'll share. So we are up against time. So I do want to share a couple things though. And one of them is some projects that we've been working on from our committee. And these are projects that really go across and connect across those progress meters. So I'm going to share that right now. I'll share one of the projects, and then from there we'll I'll kind of let you know what was going to happen in our breakout session. So everyone can see my screen here. So one of the things that we've been doing in our committee is we've been trying to create projects that school teachers, administrators can run in their schools that help connect some of these progress meter goals. So this idea here, if you see on my screen, I have this article, and I'm just going to walk you through something that's a project that we've put together that we're hoping to push out into Pinal County schools. So the teacher would read this article, and it came out earlier this year. It's this idea of Arizona needs to cut water use by 18%. And then the teacher would read this, and it would go into this idea of why, and the Colorado River Basin, and the water and all that good stuff. And then after that, they would have a discussion of why we need to do that. what would happen then is the teacher would then get this curriculum. And this curriculum here has already been developed. This is through Project WET out of U of A, Cooperative Extension. And it comes with all the curriculum needed for students to do an at-home water audit. And what they do is they take home this, teacher works with them in school, but the majority of the work gets done at home. If you see, there's a lot of math involved. This is kind of tailored to 5th through 8th graders can do this. And what happens is the teacher, the kid goes home and does a home water audit. So they would see all the things that, you know, how much does my kitchen faucet, my bathroom, my shower, how many people are in the class, how many times do we shower? They would do all the math behind it. And then they would make a pact. They would say, how can then we reduce that by 18%? So they would have to then do the math again to figure out what would 18% of that be and how could we reduce? Then at the end, they sign a pact with their parents saying, we're going to try to reduce by 18%. So that's just an example of one of the projects that's been created. And here's what it looks like. This is a sheet that we would fill out. And it kind of talks about who's impacted. So this works directly in the classrooms toward improving the 8th grade math goal. But it also is directly related to the natural resources per capita water use. So these are the kind of projects that we're going to be creating. We're hoping to get a jump on them with our breakout sessions. We're going to put you into groups and you are going to break out to go work on those. We did put together a quick read that you will be getting for homework. But all it is these indicators in a very quick read form. It talks about, you know, the indicators for education, for jobs, for civic participation. If you want to get into it deeper, you can go into the Arizona We Want site, has the full progress meters, and you can look there. But what's going to come to you is this sheet and this sheet. And all we were going to do in our breakout rooms, we're see if there's project things out there already that are happening that can make those connections. So I noticed a couple of you, I know there was another reduced water use in the project that someone was doing, or Florence K was doing in their PBL. So those kind of things. What are some projects that are out there that are happening, or what are some that we could put together that kind of help connect these goals? We do have one in infrastructure for fiber optic lines. We have one created for that. We have one for civic participation, which is the Kids Vote project. Again, these are things that are already out there. You don't have to recreate the wheel. It's just a matter of showing teachers and showing everyone, you're actually, if you run these projects, you're actually helping education, but you're also helping some of these other areas that we know Arizona We Want has already vetted as these are the things we want to improve in Arizona. So just as a promise, I'm going to send you guys, anyone that was present here is going to get those 2 documents. And since we can't do our breakout rooms, and please, if you have a little bit of time, or if you know someone in your office, because we have the right people here from all sectors, if you have any projects that you know your school's doing, or you know your business is doing, to say, oh, this kind of helps out in these 2 areas, please fill out that Word document and just email it back to me. It'll help our committee get started on really populating these projects. And the goal is, as we go to next steps, is maybe some of those projects can be housed in our community share, our Pinal County version of community share, where we can structure some of those and put them there and have the people already built behind them that can help out. So for us, next steps really is to get this group, Achieve Pinal, all the groups are presented, start really talking about how we can reach out to Josh. Maybe, like he said, he can guide us through that initial process of getting those structures in place so that we can create our own human library. So thank you, Josh. Thank you, everyone. We do have some closing adjournment by Jill Broussard, our superintendent. But before that, we do want to give out our prizes for attendance. And we're going to do that through Sylvia. She's going to randomly just go off the spreadsheet that has all our participants and select 8 winners. And then she's going to give us a name. And if you're present, you win. If not, we knock you off the list and she keeps drawing. So if she can do that for us, I don't know if you've already started that.
To make it fair, I decided to share my screen with everyone. So here's my screen. And essentially, I'm already ready to go. And you can see that everyone's names are here. and everyone has been numbered. So I am looking for randomization between person number 1 who registered first and person number 114. So I'm going to hit enter. If I could get there, hit enter. It seems like, you know. So we have number 25 is our first number 1 winner.
This is for a $60 Visa gift card.
This is for the first $60. So it was 25, it changed to 20. I don't know what happened, but I'm gonna look for 7 winners because that's what we're looking for.
So 25.
Well, 25 was the first number. I'm sorry, it keeps changing, but 25 was that first number.
Okay, so who is that? Can you read it to us?
Number 25 is Liz Tuck.
And if you can, unmute yourself and tell us if you're here, because if you're not here, we can move on. Liz, are you on?
Nope.
Nope. Next.
All right. So number 25 is deleted. Let's go to 101. Number 101 is, let me scroll down. That would be Johnson. John Scorgum.
Yeah, John Scroggum.
Is he here?
Wait.
Yes, I am here.
All right, we'll put him down
John,
for the first
you are our
$60
first
card.
winner.
Woo!
John, you are our first place winner. So I'm going to go ahead and put your name up here. You were the first place winner. And I don't know why it did that again. Let me undo. Give me 1 second. I don't know why it did that.
The formula is going to, every time you make any change, it'll
Yes.
redo all of the
So
numbers.
don't type there.
Ah.
Amy's writing down the numbers. Don't type.
Amy, are you writing down the numbers?
Yeah, she has John Scroggum.
Yeah, I got John.
Okay,
Okay.
who's next? What number is next?
Yeah, just leave it and Amy can write down the
Yeah,
numbers
I'm
and
going to leave
everything.
it. Number 14 is next.
And remember,
And
it's this number over here,
14
Sylvia.
is
Sylvia, it's this
Michael.
number over here, 14. There you go. Jeff?
It's Michael.
No, that's not the right number. You're
Right
over
here.
here, 14. It's the one below it.
The one below it. Jeff.
Is Jeff available? Central Arizona College. Jeff?
I am here.
All right, Jeff.
Yay. Jeff is second place winner.
Okay. What I mean, Sylvia, is you're looking at this column over here. You're supposed to be looking at column G.
Looking at, no, yeah, I realize that.
All right, next one is 79, another $60 card.
It's 75, not 79. 75.
Oh, 75, who is it?
And number 75, and I'm going to go to the number below it because I realize it's not numbered correctly. 75, it's this person, project
Steve
manager,
Quigley.
Steve.
Steve Quigley, you present?
I am.
All right, Steve, congratulations. So $60
thank you.
card. Next
Awesome.
are $50 restaurant cards. Oh, by the way, the ones that won the $60 cards, I'm so sorry. When one GPA send them, the only way they could send them had something to do with tax. It's like for $57.50 or something. The tax is off the card, sorry, is the way they structured it. So they're $60 cards, but it's really $57.50 or something. So you'll be getting those. We'll reach out to you via email. Next is a restaurant card, $50. Who gets
Number
that?
108, it's person 108. And that goes to Assistant Director of American Leadership Academy, Raleigh Jones.
Raleigh Jones?
I am here, yes.
Oh, all right, there you are. Yep, all right. Congratulations, $50 card.
The next
Hey,
person
great, thanks.
is number 71. And that is,
Actually, wait. You missed one.
I missed one.
What number was he?
He was 108.
No, he was 75. You missed
Oh,
108.
75. No, 108. Oh, I apologize. Number 108. That was Raleigh Jones.
Oh, well, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Good.
So number 71. Number 71 is Mayor from Casa Grande, Craig.
He is
McFarland.
here. He just emailed me that he had an 11 o'clock, so he left. So since he emailed me and he is really here, he just said he had to step out for something. We'll put him. Craig McFarland.
I'm here, Joel. I just had to jump on my phone.
Okay, he's here
Aw.
then. Yes, Craig McFarland.
Now we're going to number 81. And person who's number 81 is Public Health, Joanne Galindo.
Joanne Galindo.
I'm here.
Yay, Joanne Galindo.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
And that's another $50 restaurant card. How many have we given of those, Amy?
You have one more left.
One more
One more
$50.
left.
So
So
just
let's-
hit any button and it'll give you, or hit it at the top, it'll give you more numbers.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe I should just change this here, right? No,
Yep.
it did not. Number one.
No, that I'm not eligible. Redo it.
Oh, well, we'll go with the next number, which is number 2. And person number 2 is Noland, is the last name, Liza Noland?
Liza Noland?
Yep. That is person number 2, Liza Noland. Is she here?
Going once? Going twice?
Okay. Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay, the next number is number 79. And number 79 is PR Marketing, Carmen M. Baldwin Ortega.
Carmen Baldwin? Go to the next one.
Nope. Number 27, that would be the next number, and that would be Shayna Shea with Global Water Resource.
Shayna? All right, next one.
Number 24. Number 24 is Workforce Development, Liz Tuck. Again, she's not here.
Well, no. Yeah, no, yep, she's not here.
Number 59, that would be this person right here, Brandy Gonzalez.
I'm here.
Yay, that's our last winner.
No, we got one more. That's our last $50 card. And then for the grand prize is a golf foursome to Whirlwind. So you're going to have to pick one more number.
So I'm going to hit here and I'm going to hit return. And the first number is the first number, okay?
Okay.
Oops. Well, let's do it again.
There it is.
110.
110.
And that person is President Jacob Anderson, it looks like. Let me make sure. Jacob Anderson.
Jacob?
Jakob.
Jacob.
Jacob. I
You hear?
apologize, Jacob.
That was Richard. That wasn't him, but.
Okay, that was him. Okay, that's Jacob. Okay, go to the next person. He didn't.
Oh. Let's go to number 6. Person number 6 is Terry Ackland.
She's also ineligible. She's a committee member.
Oh, Terry. Okay, person 114. And that's the last person, Melanie Edwards.
Melanie.
Is she here?
She is here. She was here. She presented.
I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm
she's
here.
here. Yay, congratulations, Melanie.
Thank you.
All right. And don't forget, Melanie, I golf. So when you go to invite 4 people.
Okay.
All right. No, just kidding. So we'll get in touch with everyone on email on the prizes. And it'll either be from me, Melanie, yours will be from Duncan Winston over at Alluvion. But we're going to go ahead and wrap up. I'll pass it over to Jill. Thank you, everyone. You will get those 2 documents and I'll send them right after we're done. So you can go, hey, I do have an idea before it goes away. And then you can send me that document back. So thank you, everyone. And I'll turn it over to Jill Broussard, our Pinal County School Superintendent.
Hi, everyone. I want to thank you all for taking time today for something that is so important, and it is our youth and our communities and our future as a community. We are, those of us who are here that are in education, obviously we have a love for the students, and not just for their sake, but also for the sake of our communities and our future. And those of you who are in business and industry and government who have come, we just really value the fact that we have those same goals and priorities in common with you so that we can actually affect some change and move forward. I see a lot of new faces. Some faces I know from other places, but it might be your first time with one of our business and education summits or attending one. We started this several years ago. Joel, was it 6, 7 years ago?
Yep. So this is our 7th year. Yep.
Okay. 7 years ago. And I think that we had high hopes, but we weren't really sure what it was going to develop into. And with the help, well, with Joel's leadership, once I handed it over to him, we really got a great focus and direction. And he pulled in some wonderful partners. And I am just so excited every year when I see that how we've developed and the enthusiasm that comes from the people who are attending. Erica, I think about you and your presentation, your energy was infectious, and I think that that's great. And keep it up. And but the work doesn't stop here with today's summit. The conversation may have started here or continued here for some of us. The work continues, and we do it all year long. I want to invite you to attend our business and ed meetings and reach out to us when you hear or see things in the community that would tie in well with this work. And we're on this task every day of the year. So don't ever hesitate to reach out to us. We want to invite you to continue communicating with us and inviting others to our summits and to be involved in the conversation. But thank you all for everything. Joel, thank you for, and committee, thank you for another great summit, and I can't wait to see. Are we sending a survey out this year, Joel?
We probably will, yes.
So usually we take those every year we take those survey results, and we really plan and build off of those results for next year's summit. We really use that information to determine where we need to go next. We don't determine that direction. It's a collaborative effort. So thank you all. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe and healthy. And if you're hanging on to find out who the president of our country is, know that you're not alone. We're all waiting with you. And just take some time to relax this weekend. It's been a stressful week.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.
Great job.
Sylvia, you're on mute.
As soon as you end it, I need the exported list of all participants, because remember the one we have is registered. You would be able to export. Thank you. All right, bye.
Hi, sorry about that, guys. I was having a conversation with Joel. He called me immediately, and I'm just holding on to make sure everyone is off and not making sure that no one has any other questions or maybe some statements. No. All right. Have a great one.